Good day, everyone. So today I present a critical investigation entitled Environmental Degradation and Restoration, an eco-Marxist analysis of Ernesto Lariosa's selected short stories. This study examines how literature reveals the complex relationship among power, wealth, and the natural environment, demonstrating that ecological crises are not merely environmental concerns, but also social, political, and economic realities. Ernesto Lariosa occupies a significant place in Cebuano literature. His narratives extend beyond storytelling. They function as social commentaries that capture the lived experiences of communities confronting environmental destruction, economic inequality, and cultural transformation. Through his works, we gain insight into how ecological issues emerge from systems of exploitation and how ordinary people respond to these challenges. This research argues that environmental degradation cannot be understood solely through scientific explanation such as climate change, biodiversity loss, or natural disasters. Instead, it must also be examined through the structures of power that shape human relations with nature. By analyzing selected stories through an eco-Marxist lens, this study uncovers how economic interest, class divisions, and political authority contribute to environmental decline and how communities resist these forces in pursuit of restoration and sustainability. Next slide, please. This qualitative literary investigation was guided by three central objectives. First, the study identifies the environmental issues represented in the selected stories and examines how these issues are connected to systems of power and economic control. For this study, I selected 5 short stories written by Ernesto Lariosa. Second, it explores the themes of environmental restoration, preservation, and stewardship, focusing on the ways communities and individuals respond to ecological degradation. Third, it analyzes the literary elements employed by the author to communicate ecological concerns and critiques of social inequality. Together, these objectives allow us to understand how literature can illuminate the interconnected nature of environmental destruction and social injustice. Next slide, please. To understand the environmental crisis depicted in the stories, the study employs the eco-Marxist concept of the metabolic rift. This theory explains how capitalist systems disrupt the natural balance between human society and the environment. The pursuit of continuous economic growth often prioritizes extraction and profit over ecological sustainability, creating a rupture between human activity and natural processes. There is also our relationship with nature that has really disconnected. Before, we have this fear or veneration of to the environment, but right now, we are only seeing the environment as source of raw materials, but not even direct to the environment. Take, for example, if we look at our cell phones or we look at our house and then somebody would ask you, diin makagikan ana, your answer would usually be the hardware. None of us is actually able to connect that these things are taken from raw materials, taken from the environment. Within the stories, environmental degradation emerges as a consequences of this rupture. Natural resources are treated as commodities, landscape becomes sites of economic exploitation, and ecological systems are sacrificed for private gain. Those who possess economic and political power benefit from environmental destruction, while marginalized communities bear the consequences. A second theoretical perspective highlights the unequal distribution of environmental risk. Ecological damage rarely affects all members of society equally. Wealth and privilege often provide protection from environmental hazards, while vulnerable population experiences the greatest losses through displacement, declining livelihood, health problems, and environmental instability. The stories vividly illustrate this reality, showing how environmental degradation reinforces existing social inequalities and deepens the struggles of disadvantaged communities. Next slide, please. Several recurring forms of ecological devastation appear throughout the selected narratives. One prominent issue is commercial logging. Forests are exploited for economic gain, leading to habitat destruction and the displacement of wildlife. The loss of biodiversity symbolizes the broader disruption of ecological balance caused by unsustainable extraction. Another issue is wildlife dissemination. Animals are transformed into commodities or recreational targets, reflecting a worldview that values profit and entertainment over ecological responsibility. This exploitation reveals a growing alienation between humans and the natural world. The stories also depict resource extraction through dredging and industrial activity. Rivers and coastal areas become sites of aggressive economic development, resulting in environmental deterioration and adverse impacts on nearby communities. The benefits of development accumulate among powerful interests, while local residents experience the environmental costs. Across these narratives, environmental destruction is consistently linked to the pursuit of profit, demonstrating how economic priorities often override ecological concerns. And it is in this part that Ernesto Lariosa seems to become a sort of prophet. I am actually from San Fernando. I was reading, the first time I learned about Ernesto Lariosa was in high school. He was defending an acacia tree that is situated near a cement factory. And he was trying to protect that. Ernesto Lariosa actually called it as a literary tree. Later on, in my master's, I chose these selected stories. And then while reading, and I was looking at my community, I realized these are happening, the stories that he has written is actually happening in my community right now. The creation of the dredging, nahitabo yung tanan yun. So, very kayo. Next slide, paliw. Thank you. Despite portraying significant environmental damage, the stories are not narratives of despair. They also present models of ecological stewardship and responsibility. The author challenges anthropocentric perspectives that place human interest above all other forms of life. Instead, the stories promote an ecological ethic based on coexistence, interdependence, and respect for nature. Certain characters embody this perspective by recognizing their moral responsibility towards the environment. Their actions demonstrate that restoration begins with a fundamental shift in consciousness, from viewing nature as a resource to be exploited towards understanding it as a living system to which humans belong. Stewardship, therefore, becomes an act of resistance against environmental commodification. It represents a commitment to protect ecosystems, preserving the biodiversity, and maintaining the integrity of natural communities. Next slide, please. A significant finding of the study is the role of community agency in confronting environmental exploitation. The stories portray individuals who engage in reforestation efforts, environmental education, and grassroots conservative initiatives. These actions demonstrate that ecological restoration is not solely dependent on institutions, but can emerge from community participation and collective responsibility. Our narratives highlight resistance against environmentally destructive industries. Through advocacy, public awareness, and indirect opposition, characters challenge powerful interests that threaten ecological well-being. The stories also depict communities defending ancestral lands, coastal resources, and traditional livelihoods from external economic pressures. Their resistance reflects a broader struggle to protect cultural heritage, environmental sustainability, and communal identity. Collectively, these examples reveal that environmental stewardship is most effective when communities recognize their capacity to act and organize around shared ecological goals. The problem lang with the community is that we are busy fighting amongst ourselves. Okay, next slide, please. When examined together, the stories reveal consistent patterns. Environmental degradation is repeatedly associated with economic exploitation, political influence, and an unequal power relation. In contrast, environmental restoration is linked to community solidarity, ecological awareness, and collective action. Although each narrative explores different environmental concerns, from deforestation and wildlife loss to industrial pollution and coastal commercialization, they all emphasize the relationship between ecological decline and social inequality. The story differs in setting, symbolism, and narrative structure, yet they converge in presenting environmental crisis as consequences of human systems rather than inevitable natural events. Next slide, please. One of the most significant literary findings involve the role of the setting. In this story, setting functions not merely as background, but as an active force shaping human experience and conflict. Landscapes become symbols of social relationships, environmental conditions, and historical change. Natural environment often reflect the health of the communities that inhabit them. Forests, rivers, and shorelines and trees become sites where ecological and social struggles unfold simultaneously. The deterioration of these spaces symbolizes broader societal failures, while efforts to preserve them represent hope for renewal and transformation. Through this approach, the author demonstrates that environmental spaces are deeply connected to memory, identity, and collective well-being. The stories employ powerful symbols that deepen their ecological critiques. Objects associated with wealth, technology, and authority frequently symbolize systems of control and exploitation. In contrast, simpler tools and everyday objects often represent the struggles of ordinary people navigating environment and economic hardships. Infrastructure damaged by environmental extraction serves as a metaphor for the breakdown of social and ecological stability. Such images highlight the consequences of prioritizing private interest over public welfare. Birds and other forms of wildlife function as ecological indicators throughout the narratives. Their presence suggests harmony and environmental health, while their disappearance signals imbalance, degradation, and ethical decline. The findings demonstrate that environmental degradation and social inequality are deeply interconnected. Ecological crisis does not emerge in isolation. They are shaped by economic systems, political structures, and human decision. At the same time, the stories emphasize that restoration is possible. Communities possess the capacity to challenge destructive practices, protect natural resources, and cultivate more sustainable relationships with the environment. Based on these findings, 3 recommendations emerge. First, environmental and climate literacy should be strengthened through the integration of local literary works into educational curricula. Literature provides a culturally relevant means of engaging students with ecological issues. Second, environmental concerns highlighted in literary texts should inform policy discussions and encourage stronger protections for vulnerable ecosystems and communities. Third, sustainable resource management should prioritize community participation and democratic decision-making, ensuring that environmental governance serves the common good rather than narrow economic interest. Ultimately, these stories remind us that literature is not only a form of artistic expression, it is also a powerful instrument of ecological awareness, social critique, and transformative action. Through narrative, we gain a deeper understanding of the challenges facing our environment and the collective responsibility required to address them. I would like to end my discussion with a quote from one of Ernesto Lariosa's character in the selected stories. Everyone and everything in this world will show their usefulness at least once before they pass away. Thank you and God bless.